Yeah, we're live. What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's good? What's good, folks? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. How you eating pumpkin pie? How you eating pumpkin pie? And we starting the show, and then you eating a whole pie. It's not even like you got a slice of pie. You got a pie and a spoon. Yeah, that's why. So we missing Vince. Oh, okay. Thursday, 8 to 10. Oh, you mean Urban Country Films as always.com. Yeah, man, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real. So we do have a sponsor, buhosting.com. Buhosting.com. Don't forget to check out buhosting.com. That's home of the 1111 domain. They got domains for $11.11. When I'm talking about $11.11, $11.11. Lock in your domain name. They got cheap hosting and everything else like that. And there's a little bit of echo coming in from the that's the monitor. We need to mute the monitor. Yeah, but Urban Country Films, sponsored by BU Hosting. That's BEYOU hosting.com. Oh, you know what? You know what? That's me. Pardon me. 1 second. How's that? Sorry about that. Forgot to turn off my fan. Yeah. Um, we got to go for option A right now because of the present who's presently here. So you know what I mean. I mean let's option A is really what I was thinking about was it's come to my attention. I touched on it before on my previous. Did I mute myself? I'm back. Yeah. As if. No, y'all full of it, bro. Y'all full of it. So no, for real. I've spoke about it on one of my previous episodes is the fact that when we at our jobs, not even at our jobs, not even because it goes deeper than that. Um, we as a society are pretty much controlled by finances, right? Regardless of what. I mean, you can't deny that we are controlled by finances. The way things are set up, if you want to eat, you're going to you're gonna have to come up with some money, right? If you want to drink water, you're probably gonna have to come up with some money, unless it's probably gonna be some salt water or some dirty water or something like that. Um, yeah, but could you imagine if 30,000 people needed water in Miami? They're not getting it from the business is not going to be giving them free. But I'm just saying. So really and truly, we do all we all what's it called? We need money to survive in the system that we got set up right now. Um, you got to pay your bills. If you're not going to have internet, you're not going to have lights, you're not going to have running water, sewage. The garbage people is not coming to pick up your garbage. Everything revolves around money. So in turn we have to work, and then we have this system and it's set up in place to where we work for a third of the day. Our day is set up in three pieces, right? Um, we have 8 hours. 8 times 3 is 24. No, am I wrong? Right, right. I'm not good at math, but yeah. So um, our day is pretty much set up. They say in order to be healthy, a healthy amount of sleep is 8 hours amount of sleep, right? So we're supposed to have 8 hours amount of sleep per day, right? We work for 8 hours. If you have a full-time job, you're working for 8 hours. More times than not, that 8 hours is not paying your bills. So you have to do something else on the side, right? Well, okay. Right. Hey, Vince, how are you, buddy? Are you? Can you hear? Okay. Let's just wait for him to get situated. Okay, so he's gonna come back. So, really and truly, we were what we were. So you have two parts of the day is already taken for, right? You have one part of the day for work, right? The other part of the day is for sleep, right? And now you have 8 more hours of the day, which to do everything else. Everything else. If you have kids, the kids have to get some of those 8 hours. If you have a wife, your wife has to get some of those 8 hours. If you want to work on your hobby is going to take some of those 8 hours. If you want to shave, your shave is going to take some of those 8 hours. If you want to take a shit, that shit's coming out of your 8 hours. Uh, but seriously, like that's really and truly what it is. Like it's it's set up to where you're given your day is set. Your day is divided in three pieces. In order for you to be healthy, you need 8 of them to sleep, right? So we're just gonna. None of us get it. None of us get it. But that's what the medical professionals say. You need 8 hours for, long jeopardy and all the goodness that sleep brings you. Um, Majority of I love that shirt. Majority of us don't get that, but that is what it is. That's what they say you're supposed to have, and then your employer takes 8 hours out of that day, so you live with 8 hours to do the rest of what you want to do. Okay, right? See, that's most cases because most people that do an 8 hour job, they're taking another 4 hours trying to work on their ultimate goal. You know what I mean? Because most of us don't see ourselves in our job for the rest of our lives, or even our career for the rest of our lives. Most of us have something in our back of our mind that we really want to accomplish, and we feel like that's that's what we want to focus on, and it would be great if we could get 8 hours to work on that, but we need to pay bills, right? Because we live in a society where you need to pay bills. So we end up going to work for someone else, um, to get that money, to pay the bills, and hopefully you get a little bit more left over to where you can invest into your goals. But then you only have 8 hours worth of goals to you only have 8 hours to sneak in your goals, along with everything else that you have to do for the rest of the day, including driving back and forth to work, right? So it really doesn't leave you much time to take care of your goals, dreams, and aspirations. What do you guys think about that? Chain on the gate. Right. Hold, Um, so I wasn't really kind of speaking of sacrifices. You know what I mean? Because I understand like yeah, I think that's where the word actually comes from. Is sacrifices because of how the system is set up. It is you have to take away from one thing in order to make anything else works. But one thing that's never going to get taken away from is that 8 hours at work. We'll sacrifice sleep. We'll sacrifice sleep. We'll sacrifice our friends. We'll sacrifice our families. We'll sacrifice, but we won't sacrifice that 8 hours of work, and because we can't. Because we can't. Because number one, that's what's expected of us for us to keep our position, right? That's number one. And number two, if we don't go, we're not going to get that money. And I don't want anybody to get me twisted, because as you say, as you mentioned that, I don't want anybody out here thinking that thinking that I'm talking negatively about jobs or anything, because it's even worse if you have your own business. You know what I mean? If you're not working a 9 to 5 and you have your own business, it's even worse. You know, it's really not what I'm really talking about is really not about the job per se. It's how um, money is tied to everything, and we need it to survive. So because we need that to do everything, then who controls the money controls us. Hey Vince, you can hear us. He can hear us and he can see us. How do you figure? Like, how? What do you mean by that? Where does that come from? Right. I don't think so. I mean, no, I don't. I disagree. I respectfully disagree. But let's welcome Vince to the show. Sounds great. Sounds great. I'm glad you can hear us and we can hear you. Um, Jay Klein. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Did you pick up on the conversation what we're talking about, Vince? Right, right, right. Yeah, or a pizza. Right, right. And so that's what. So my the title of my topic tonight, Vince, is economic slavery. And really and truly, right? Because I'm really just kind of the way society is set up right now is our time is divided in three. Our day is divided in three parts: 8 hours for work, 8 hours for sleep, and 8 hours for whatever the hell else you want to do with your life. But we never get the 8 hours of actual sleep. We always get in 8 hours of work. We never get in 8 hours of sleep, or we never get in the actual 8 hours to work on just any other one thing, because the other 8 hours of the day is so split up between your family, yourself, driving back and forth to work, and all the other everything else that you got going on, anything else that you want to do with life. Um, so basically, it's kind of like my perception on it is that we're set up in this like a hamster wheel, to where we're just running around a clock, running around this wheel trying to chase, like you remember the idea with the dangling carrot, and you're chasing the dangling carrot, um, type of thing. But because of how the structure is set up, very few of us actually reach that dangling carrot, and the rest of us die trying to get there. Um, and huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. Trying to figure out a way to how do I get out of here? That's how I feel too, bro. That's how I feel. Like trying to tell the rest of the hamsters, yo, listen, bro, we all hamsters. We all hamsters. Come on, y'all. How we gonna get out of this cage? Like somehow, if we could get together, I'm sure we can stand on each other's backs and reach the lock or something. Right. Right. Absolutely. Right. 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 Exactly. In that part. And what really triggered it is um at a situation where I was in a business dealing with a person that we were both working on some goals, some life goals, um, and it turns out what we were doing is against company rules. So what both of us working on was a goal of both of ours, which now has to come to a crushing halt because the job, it's against company policy. So where it got to me is like, okay, not only do these companies take the majority of your day, then they turn around and also influence the rest of your day. You know, I get, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely free to walk away. But like how we started out, you need the way system is set up is that we because if you're starting on your goals and dreams and aspirations, bro, you're not just gonna go jump in and start making what you normally make at your job to cover your bills and stuff. That just doesn't work. Ask any business owner. Sometimes you're in it for 5-7 years before you start to turn a profit. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So it's that's not something that you do. So, and I think, not think, I know that these big organizations realize that, and I know that's where this 8-hour thing came from. This 8-hour workday is that, hey, look, if they have to get eight of their hours to us, they're not going to be able to work on their own. Period. In the first place, they're going to have to make sacrifices. They're going to have to take sacrifices from their sleep, take sacrifices from their family, from their friends, or from their other things. So they end up miserable anyway. And then after all of that, they dip into your personal life. So, to me, it's just kind of like, yo, when do we break away and say, hey, you know what? Like how you were saying before, Luch, how, we all contribute to society. When do we break away and start looking at these things in society and figuring out how much of it do we really need? How much of it is really necessary? Like, do I really need to pay somebody to turn lights on? Do I really need to send a check every month for the lights to be on? Like, is that a necessity? Mm-mm. Right. That's crazy. for some reason, it,
then why am I going to work? And so you end up with this massive drop off of people not working, and then everything, the machine shuts down. So then you have to fix the machine. Well, nobody's going to pick up the machine and work for free to support people who refuse to work. And you'll hear that argument um, amongst, here in America with people that are Republican versus Democrat. The Democrat Party now is more favorable towards a socialist communist, and it wasn't always this way, but they're more favorable towards those ideals now, where the Republican is more free market slash capitalistic, and that has its dangers as well, which is why there was a government to begin with to protect everybody within those possibilities. So the argument can go on and on and on, but when people realize that they can live without working, they stop working. If I don't have to work, I'm not going to work, but I'm going to receive food and I'm going to have a place to live, and that's what happens. That's why these economies where they experiment with it stagnate. If you ever get to walk the streets of Cuba, the the people generally have nothing to do. Everything's stagnated because they murdered off all the productive people. The productive people fled, and it's not to say that people aren't working, but you have to experience it firsthand. I highly recommend it.
but okay, so I you're touching on the next subject, and I really don't. I'm trying not to go there yet. um. So what you're really what I'm taking from what you're saying is that even though what we do have set up is an economical slavery type of situation to where it's set up to where we need everything that we need, we have to pay for everything that we think we need, or society tells us that we need. And if we've actually registered in our mind that we really don't need it, then the law tells us we need it because, like you just said, it's against the law to not have to not have FP&L.
Oh yeah.
Right,
Um,
right.
the and this is how I became a libertarian. Um, I don't need anyone to force anything off on me, and nobody should, because that's not freedom. And even the show is about let's talk freedom. What is freedom? Well, freedom is not encroaching or forcing anything on anyone. That is the exact opposite of freedom. Call it for what it is. If I choose that I want to live in a tent, and back in the days in the US, there were people living in tents, not because they were poor, but because they were done with society. And they had
I
every
mean,
right
there's
to
people that
do
do that
so.
now.
There are, but it's illegal. Um, if you get lucky and you're like in a mountainous area where somehow you're getting away with it, that's cool. And another people, you can buy property and you can live without electricity on your own property. But now you will have a government agency coming in and forcing you to connect to FPL, charging you a minimum fee. It's not freedom anymore. And our country is bound to go in one direction or the other. And by being disengaged from legislation, some people, they don't want anything to do with politics, but that's dangerous because that's how the Nazis got set up. That's how Stalin took over. People refused to be engaged, and so they let bad people take over. Everybody, look, Stalin was somebody's hero, and that's how he got in power. Then he had to murder off all the people that disagreed with them and implement communism slash atheism and I'm referring to Russia. And whether you disagree with me or not, if somebody's listening, I don't care. I've already studied this for myself. So disagree with it, look yourself in the mirror and argue with yourself. But history is recorded. So history, every step of the way, policy takes us somewhere. Andre, you mentioned a ways back that if you don't like the way things are, don't cry and complain, go change the policy. That's exactly right. If you don't like the direction things are heading, work hard, get into government, and change the policy.
Right.
Because the police, and you were referring to the police, for those of you that are listening, he was referring to the police on this particular term. Police only enforce policy, thus the name police. It's related to the word policy. If the policy is, for instance, that weed is not illegal, DuPont, big corporation, helped make it illegal, and it's not illegal, well, the police aren't going to go harassing you for nugs on your floorboard. So
Right.
get in there and change policy. John, you had something to say?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you think we're too far gone to change anything? Like, do you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't want to sound hopeless and bleak and all that stuff, but I'm saying like, once these roots take hold, it's a hell of a lot of work to try to uproot.
Okay,
And
so
if you have corruption coming in and in our government, like that's the way I feel. That's why I feel that half the shit, or more than half the shit's all fucked up for everybody today, unless you're part of a certain tax bracket. Um,
I like the question.
Pardon?
I like your question. Keep.
Yeah. Like it would take a whole lot of like-minded individuals to pump the brakes on the whole system. I mean, that's rewriting a whole hell of a lot of shit, and I'm just wondering if it's too far gone. There's too many of them and not enough of us,
No,
or
because
you,
no,
or
because
Luch, or someone with the right mind, or the right moral compass. And I shouldn't say that because everybody's compass is off. Well, you can't judge anybody else's compass on your compass, but you don't know where they're pointing. You know what I'm saying? I might feel like they're misguided, but yeah. So I'm just wondering, to get to where ideally I would like to see. Are
I
we too
mean,
far gone?
look at history, bro. Look at the women's suffrage movement. Look at the civil rights movement. Look at all these things that came out of nowhere, like the free love anti-war movement of the '70s, bro. This all started because a group of like-minded people came together, and
right.
then more people that shared those opinions came together. It's how the Black Panthers were formed. It's how a lot of street gangs were formed. Is people all having similar thoughts and ideas, and they came together and tried to put it into action.
Yeah, it's never too late. In answer to your question, look at, if anybody's ever had a hospitalization that looked very, very grim, and even the doctors would say, "Okay, this person, writing's on the wall. Say your last prayers. Um, it's over." And then the person miraculously recovers. Everybody's heard those stories before.
Yeah.
I've experienced them myself. I've even actually flatlined myself, and the fear in the nurse's voice made me step back into my body. We'll save that for another time. I'll leave that for memento mori once I get that underway, which it should be soon. Sorry about that, Dre. It's never too late. When the ideas take root, they can snuff out the bad roots that are there. Trees die, even big trees die, no matter how deep their roots went. If time passes by, or the soil changes, or there's a shortage of water because there's no rain, whatever. So I'm going to make a little allegory here. People in the US have so much power, they have so much strength and possibility, but they were never trained to use their strength, their possibility, or their power. And that is by design, because when you give people power, sometimes they'll abuse it. If you disagree with a company, let's like, I have companies, I won't shop at Walmart. And people are like, well, why wouldn't you do that? They have great prices. Well, they do, but I understand how they have great prices. They manipulated Chinese markets. They have people working in basically slave labor conditions to produce those goods so that they can sell them cheaper. If they're able to sell you a t-shirt at $3, the same shirt that would sell for $15 to $25 here if it were made in the US, how do you think they do that? Well, they force the people, the government over there, that they're going to produce it for 50 cents each, which translates into somebody not getting paid who's producing it. And if you think the owner of the sweatshop is not getting paid, you're sorely mistaken. He's making his money up front. He's using child labor, forced labor, slave labor, and these people suffer because of the decision so that we can have a $3 t-shirt from Walmart. So I'm using that as an example. I don't support Walmart. And literally, if everybody knew or cared about slave labor, and this is a little bit of virtue signaling, shop there if you want. I'm not going to attack you. But if you really truly believe that it's wrong to use slave labor, you wouldn't use anybody's products who resorts to those tactics. We do have that power. There is no governmental agency currently in the US where they will put a gun to your head and say, if you don't shop here, you die. It doesn't exist. So if all of us tomorrow, from tomorrow on, decided we're not using Walmart again, we're going to go to mom and pop stores that actually produce their goods in the US. We're going to go to Target, which I'm just using that as an example.
We're not going to Target either, though. Target don't like fat people. Fuck Target. I said it and I say it again. Target don't care about fat people. Fuck Target.
Miami.
Ask me why I say that.
Why you say that?
Ask me why I say that.
Anyway, so if
why do you say
that?
Because I was in a local Target a week or so back, and I was in the section of the graphic tees. Now, Target has some of the best possible graphic tees you could want at a reasonable rate that you want to you would be willing to pay. Until I seen this little sign across the top that says sizes up to 2X. Everything else go online. I myself happen to be a 3X. I can wear a 2X until I wash it.
Until you wash it.
I happen to be a 3X. So you mean to tell me that I can't get a decently priced shirt in my fucking size in a store? That I have to shop online, and what if the shirt runs small? And that bit don't fit me because I went to a Marshall's and I bought a shirt, said 3X, and show the fuck weren't no 3X. I'll tell you that much. So now I got to go through the hassle of now going to Target where I can't even exchange it to return the motherfucker, or God forbid I got to pack that bitch up and mail it back. Fuck you, Target. Get close for fat people in that bitch. I swear to God, I'll get every 3X to be person I fucking noticed it in that motherfucker and stop all them skinny bitches from shopping. Fuck you.
And I have a marketing tact for Target. Put exercise equipment next to your XX shirt. Okay, so anyway, back to the point though. If we all stop shopping at Walmart, how long do you think they're going to survive? How long do you think they're going to stay in business?
They're not.
They're going to go out of business pretty much instantly because the over plus the amount of merchandise that's not selling, you do it, they're going to end up having to liquidate in a matter of months unless some governmental crony comes in and gives them a bailout because they're too big to fail. And that would be the wrong thing to do. That is not government's job. I'm not saying government doesn't do it because they do it quite a bit.
They do it all the time.
They do it all the time. And that was not supposed to be. That is not written in our Constitution. However, people that lose their jobs, if said Walmart went out of business, you got a lot of people employed there. Well, I think you guys can agree that eventually another store would see that as an opportunity for sales. So mom and pop stores would have an opportunity to open up, like Luch, you could open up your own t-shirt for triple extra large people, but specifically catered only to people that are extra large plus, and boom, all of a sudden, all that business that they had is now coming through your door. Now, the difference is now Luch is making a ton of money because he's got a niche in the market and he's not being competed with this gigantic mammoth that doesn't pay their own employees well, and that sunk all the mom and pop places to begin with. So, summarizing in all this, the people of the U.S. have tremendous power, but they're disorganized for a reason. And part of that is by design. You very rarely will hear the things that I just said taught, but we do still have that power here in the U.S. We just don't show up. You don't have to burn down wall. That's insane. You don't have to go beat up their employees, man. They're just people. But you can sink the actual corporations that you disagree with, and you can open up your own company, and then you make your own money. You give your customer service. You create your own flair, and your company will prosper. I wish everybody owned their own company.
But if everybody owned their own company, who's going to work for them?
You work for yourself.
But I need other people.
You can hire, listen, you can hire young people who don't know the business yet, and you can teach them how to run their own business. In reality, nature thrives off of itself. And let me explain that. If you train a kid and he's better at you than what you do, and he wants to go open a competition against you, yeah, you might go out of business if he opens up the store down the street. But
fuck that, you shoot that motherfucker in the knee.
But if you cultivate that person correctly, they may end up staying with you and working at your company if you pay them right, and they're contributing that much to your company. That's what you do. It's just day by day, bro. Like, I'm making it sound simplistic. It's not. It's a day-to-day thing where you choose to make great customer service or have a niche or something like that. But we have so much power. We can create a company, we can create a service, we can do anything we want to. And, there are minor hurdles there because you got to open up your LLC, your S Corp, whatever, get your insurances. But everybody should own their own company, at least in the US. Everybody should.
So that's the way you break away from economic enslavement.
Yes.
Not necessarily, though, because you still got to have to pay for everything. Regardless, so even working for yourself, you still have to pay for everything, and that right there is what I'm talking about. The fact that everything needs to be paid for. We live in this mindset to where we're tricked, to where we feel like we need the grocery store for food, we need FP&L for lights, we need the water people for water, we need Lucci to make pizza.
Yeah. You need to make pizza, bro.
And I'm not gonna mention it
because you ain't gonna do the same.
You know what I mean? Like, and you know what I mean? Like, we live in this world where we figure we need all these things, but when you peel back all of that bullshit, we really don't need any of those things. God gave us what we need to not only thrive, but not only to survive, but to also thrive. With everything right here, without all this man-made added bullshit on top of it, because really what's happened is there's a man-made layer of bullshit on top of nature, and making us feel like we need this layer. We need to be in this layer. We need to participate in this layer in order for us to thrive and to survive. And it's not true. It really isn't true. And because of this, we give up more and we give up more and we give up more control. More and more and more control. And there has to become a point to where we're going to have to stop at one point and say, wait a minute. This shit really is not necessary. Like, I can live and I can breathe and I can eat without all this man-made layer that you've put here.
I don't know, man.
And that's really what I'm trying to deal with.
There's something about like the comforts of, and I don't want to say it like, I don't want it to come off like lazy, but for fuck's sake, dude, I don't want to make my own pizza. If I can order fucking Little Caesars, or if I can go order from Little Caesars and have them make me a pizza, I know I can make my own pizza.
Yeah,
they're gonna make you a pile of grease. That's what they're gonna make you.
Yeah, but I'm even talking about even further than that. Fuck making your own pizza. I'm talking about milking the freaking cow and pasteurizing the milk to make cheese.
I don't want to milk no cow.
That's
Bro, I don't want to touch
I don't want to
animals.
milk no cow.
right. Exactly.
Bro, I look like the type of person that touch animals, bro.
But that's that's what I'm saying. Like,
Dre, you went
No, but-
fishing with me, bro. I don't even touch the fish to take it off the goddamn hook, bro.
So,
What did I do?
okay.
I stepped on that motherfucker and ripped the shit out his mouth, right? I
So
don't
what-
touch them shits.
So what about the people that realize that we don't need that layer, but we take it for what it is? It's a comfort layer that we're willing to pay for.
But we're
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm not saying that there's things wrong with it. What I'm saying is that we're giving up more and more power. And when do we realize? When do we stop giving up power? That's the question. Like, how much power do we give?
Just the
You
shit
touch-
you don't want to fucking do.
To a degree, and it is true, actually, Luch, the stuff you don't want to do, that we provide services. And this goes back to the beginning. Some guy was good at hunting, and so everybody depended on him to go catch the deer or the gazelle or whatever it was they were hunting, and that's how they would eat.
Right.
And, everything became trade. Some lady was very good at pottery. She understood how to harness clay, or not harness it, but pull it out of the earth and then create clay and use the kiln to dry it out. People had their job skills, but we've kind of become topsy-turvy. Now the mentality is, and I'm not sure of every part of the world, but I know at least in the US, it's like, how do I make money? I'll do anything I have to make money. Money has become the god. Money has become the idol. So people sell their souls, both literally and figuratively, to go after the money, because money becomes the end all. And I agree with what Dre's saying. If you dissect that, you don't actually, the money doesn't actually make you happy. As a matter of fact, it makes you a slave when you do nothing but chase it. If you were to somehow learn what really makes you happy and find out that can't be bought, then you would probably get back to basics. And that's a rare thing nowadays, because we live in the society that has constant bombardments of advertisement and music videos and you name it, telling us what we should think,
Right.
and what we do need,
And what we should
and
like.
we've lost what we should like, and we've lost touch with reality. And none of that stuff is real. It's illusory. It's just as you said, Dre, it's just an imagination.
Listen, if we were to ever, I would love to live in a society 20 miles, and everybody in this 20 miles, Lucha, you're a fabulous cook.
Thank
You feed these 20 miles. Your job is to wake up in the morning, you have a few people with you, breakfast, lunch, dinner, for whoever wants to come to get it.
But what if he has
John.
aspirations of doing other things?
But I mean, that's his thing. But that's his God-given natural talent. So if his aspirations of doing other things, then that wouldn't be his thing. So
I mean, I'm
whatever
good at a
his
lot of stuff, homie.
but whatever your God-given natural talents. I'm just using that as an example, right? So your God-given natural talent that you
Yeah.
love to do is cooking, right? I'm just using that as an example. And
All right.
you say I'm going to use my God-given talent for the benefit of society. I'm going to put my contribution to society. So you cook. That's what you focus on. Everybody within the 20-mile radius, if they need something to eat, they come in by you, because they know somebody's going to have something to cook. Now, John is a nurse or a doctor, and he says,
Why you gonna be a
that's-
doctor? Because he Asian, bro? Racist as hell, man.
right?
Yeah,
So-
want to make the white fat dudes a cook. All right, I got you, bro.
right? So he's a doctor, and he's
Anyway,
Laundry.
no, but that's his God-given talent, and that's what he loves to do. So he has his little practice to where he's teaching people that inspire to be like him. Those people work for him, and everybody in that community that needs doctor service is coming to John. Vince does construction. There's a bunch of people in the community that want to learn construction. They all go work for Vince. Their pay is that they're learning this skill that Vince has. Vince's pay, Vince is building communities for everybody, building houses for everybody that needs houses in the communities. His pay is whatever is the fact that he could go to Lucci's house and eat. If he gets sick, he's gonna go to John and goes to the doctor. If he needs vegetables, he's gonna go by me because I'm growing tomatoes and corn. And society was like that at one point. That's how it was, because we had an understanding as humans that nothing here is ours.
Yeah.
Right?
But then Vince found out that none of us can do anything unless we have
This is
buildings.
my pepper shaker. This is my pepper shaker. I own this.
And then
This is
Vince
my
said-
pepper shaker.
And then Vince said, I'm more important because you guys can't cook. You can't see people.
No,
Unless you
absolutely
have
not.
a building to keep you safe. And then Luch said, well, motherfucker, all y'all gonna die unless you eat.
No,
I'm more important than Vince.
No.
And I said, man, you gonna stub your motherfucking toe and get sepsis. And you can't do shit unless you come see me.
and that's
So
why we
now
all
we're-
understand how important everybody is.
And
Everybody
I
has
can't do
its
shit because
importance.
Dre the one that
But
bring
then-
the food, B. I ain't cooking shit if I ain't got food, and Dre got the
Yeah.
food, bro.
So that, interestingly enough, you guys have touched on how political philosophies were formed. If you go back to Marxism, and Marxism, for those of you that don't know, the gentleman did not get a job with a company that was producing newspapers and articles. So he got really upset because he didn't have an income. And he, during that time that he didn't have a job, he wrote his little communist manifesto. So that's how Marxism started, by some guy who was pissed off and thought other people should pay his way. And you go to socialism and it's like, okay, regardless of what I do, we should all be paid equal. It sounds good, right? We all make $50 a day if that's what it takes to live. But then you got the person who says, okay, we all get paid the same no matter what. So I'm not going to work so hard. I'm going to let Vince do all the work. And I'm sure every single one of you out there has worked at a company or a place where you got that dude that dodges the work.
Yeah.
He's getting paid for his 8 hours, but see them smiles. Everybody has worked with that one employee who's like, I'm getting paid the same regardless of what I do.
Right.
So I'm going to dodge the work. So there's your socialism. And that's what happens. And that's why socialism very rarely works. The exception to socialism, and I'm going to go back to Sweden on this, but maybe 20 years back, Sweden, not current. The entire culture from as far back as you can imagine was built kind of on a socialism mindset. So it worked for them. They didn't have to murder each other to get to that place. It's different, in the UK where the people had to be conquered. So just a little FYI there. And then you got the US where they started off with everybody sharing everything. And then as one person was better at something than someone else, they're like, well, let me do this at a higher yield and a higher rate. And why should you guys get paid the same as me when I'm doing more work than all of you? How about we eat as we work? And then, so the kind of capitalism was built off of that, which is, I still like it personally because I'm okay with Social Security. I'm okay with the safety net. The problem is people use the safety net as a hammock. It's a proverb at this point. But if I want to get uber rich and I'm willing to sacrifice 18 hours of my day working, whatever field you pick it, then that's my prerogative. I can do that. I'm allowed to. I have the freedom to do that, and you can't stop me. And this is where people get bummed out with taxes. If I'm going to work twice as hard as all of you, but you're going to penalize me twice as much as anyone else because I work twice as hard as you, that's insane. So that's why people are anti-tax. I am libertarian, and I have no problem paying taxes for things that I approve of. And I do pay my taxes, but I do think the tax system could be definitely overhauled to represent the individual. And that way, only the programs that the individuals are willing to fund will thrive.
I
On
thought
that,
you couldn't.
huh?
I thought you couldn't tax labor.
Well, okay, so when you go to work and you labor, what gets pulled out of your check?
Taxes
Yeah, see, but
Federal income tax.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I could have swore that it
And
says
state.
that you're not
That's
supposed to
not
be
true.
charged tax.
and state, federal,
On
state,
labor.
and FICA.
Depending on what state you're in, we don't have a state tax here, but
Well, I
Depend-
mean,
your tax on your
Massachusetts, yeah,
labor.
Massachusetts. That was the last like job, and
All right, gentlemen, it is now 9:02. Take a
Time-
2-minute break to thank our sponsors. What was the sponsor is?
so I do definitely want to
Who wants bones? I got bones. I got cones. We got phones. It's all about bones. Go to bones.com. I'm just kidding, man.
Is there bones.com? Right? Like, we
Yo, you fuck around and have people going to bones.com for real.
Look at bones.com right now. Tell me what shows up. You said comment. Talk
All
to
right,
me.
real deal. What you want to do is we got to definitely give a huge shout out to our sponsor, buhosting.com. That's buhosting.com. They're the ones that provide all of our hosting, all of our internet security, domain name, everything you need. Everything you need. Check out buhosting.com. Again, that's buhosting, and it's not the letter B and the letter U. It's spelled out BEYOU hosting.com. All right. So buhosting.com. That's the link. Check it out. That's where you wanna that's where you wanna shout out, and shout outs to everybody else on the platform, Urban Country Films. Keep on doing y'all thing, man. The growth is absolutely amazing. Look out for 7th Ave. Look out for the 7th Ave wear.
Man. You on 7th Ave, bro? Where the fuck else I'm gonna be at, bro? Man, you got me on the Facebook, you got me on the Twitter, at @Av_7th Ave. No, yeah, @Av_7th. You find me on the Twitterverse. I spit a couple nuggets here and there. Got some clothing coming. I got a TV pilot in the works, trying to do shit major, but do it in a minor kind of way.
Nothing wrong with that. Now with that, John, you do got another subject that you wanna bring up, since we're on the downhill of the show.
Okay, so
Dead air.
Vince, you are going to be the subject of a lot.
Whoa.
Because
Slow me
you
down,
are,
whoa, this slow me down, whoa.
you are my political inspiration of knowledge. So, first of all, let me just say that I noticed, as you were talking about socialism, it sounds like it's making a big wave. It's becoming a trend that's coming and building more and more momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a libertarian, so I'm not 100% sure what a libertarian is. So I would like if you can educate us on the factual viewpoint, so that way we can, not just me be enlightened, but maybe other people listening stumbled upon that really doesn't know what a libertarian is.
Because
What a Republican is like help break it down, because this is where you have a lot more know-how than I know myself. So I don't know about the other two gentlemen.
absolutely, positively, as far as I'm concerned. And
So Vince,
but before you even get there, Vince, because like libertarian is, from what I've seen about it, looks real great. But sometimes you hear people
I
say,
do whatever the fuck I want to do, as long as it don't fuck with y'all.
But sometimes you hear, a lot of times you hear people say they're libertarian, but when you check out their views, it really sounds like it's kind of leaning towards one side or another. So, it does leave some confusion sometimes. So break it down for me, man. Break it down for all of us,
Wait.
and explain, like dive in, like break it down. We
Yeah.
dedicated to the whole hour, the whole next hour, for the next hour of the show, to talking about all the different, political stance and socialist, communist, right wing, left wing, this, that, and the other thing, and you're gonna be talking a lot, bro.
Yeah, and also Vince,
Fuck that. I want to
I
talk
just like to
about
point
fucking
out.
Tory Lanez, bro. I want to talk about Meg Thee Stallion. I want to talk about my man Kanye. I want to talk about how much I hate Little Caesars and Target.
We gonna get to them.
You
But the
already
election
spoke
is
on
around the
others,
corner, and really and truly,
now,
this is important.
but before you get into the point of view of libertarianism, um, you have good examples and bad examples as always. And some people say they're libertarians, but they're not really libertarians. And I notice a lot of people that claim to be a libertarian, but isn't really acting in that manner.
Just like Christians,
It's all-
bro.
It's almost like they're giving it a bad name. They're giving it a bad name, and it's almost like they're the fucking hipsters of the political realm. It's not. It doesn't have the correct poster child yet, so to speak, because that's just the way it rubs me. I mean, you seem cool as fuck. There's nothing I really 100% disagree with you on, but other people that come into the fray, they're just like, yeah, I'm a libertarian, but fuck these people, fuck those people. It's cool for me. And it's just like it's almost like a hipster mentality, and I just want to be able to separate the two. So please, that's why I want to be informed.
All right. First off, can you guys hear me okay? Am I breaking
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Okay. So with libertarianism, because it's based on freedom, it can take on many different faces. And you may have left-leaning libertarians, and as long as they keep their freedom for what they believe in to themselves, that's not to say they don't apply it. If you had a left-leaning, let's say a socialist-leaning libertarian, they would be free to get rid of all their money at 50% brackets to fund what they believe in. And if those programs were not funded by government, what the libertarian thrives off of is that it's not made illegal for them to fund said program, whatever it could be. Let's pretend it's YMCA. It's what they care about is that it's not illegal for me to take 50% of my income and apply it to that. So, and that's for example. If you don't have a constitution though, as a libertarian, then it's vague, it's very floating world, and you're not going to understand what it is you're leaning towards. So a constitutional libertarian is what we're dealing with in the US. I've seen groups on Facebook trying to apply like anarcho-capitalistic, that's all nonsense. In essence, libertarian, defined as, is the process of liberty, and liberty means freedom. So when people try to twist that word to fit something they want to force on people, it's no longer libertarian. It falls into the categories of renaming whatever the vehicle is that they're trying to drive with a false sticker on it. Like the Toyota Camry, you can put a Ferrari logo on it, you ain't driving a Ferrari. So that's what happens in essence to the Libertarian Party. We actually have a lot of people that agree with us, but we don't get the face time because the paradigm here in the US is a left-wing, right-wing paradigm. It's Republicans versus Democrats. And whenever you get somebody who's rational, I'm going to use Ron Paul. He's one of my favorite politicians of all times. They don't give him airtime. Somebody in the media does not want Ron Paul or people that think clearly and fairly like that are highly educated. The guy's a doctor, by the way. They don't want those people there because it will send their system to a grinding halt. Their system may be because they live off your taxes at a high rate. Their system may be that they're incumbent people in Congress who never want to leave their positions, aka job security. And am I making sense so far?
Yeah.
Just to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm making sense, because if I don't make sense, I know what I'm saying in my head, but I don't want to waste y'all's time either.
Right.
So these people don't want to lose their power, and so they keep us out of the media. Now there are some whack jobs, as there are anything there is, who will go, I'm a libertarian, where in reality it could be like Jason from Friday the 13th, and they got some bad ideas. This is the wrong vehicle. This is not a constitutional libertarian. A true constitutional libertarian, and that's what this show, the first time round, Let's Talk Freedom, was based on. Our Constitution in the US is fine as it is. We have our amendments appropriated. There is due process to make amendments, etc. But at the end, in summarizing respect for other people, you don't have the right to encroach on their liberties. So let's say your neighbor likes to smoke weed. He grows his own weed. You don't arrest him. You don't send him to prison for 30 years. You don't pass legislation to make his pastime illegal if he's not harming anybody but his own lungs. Now, if he gets high, if he's selling weed to the kids in the neighborhood, then you got to use discretion there. Now he's technically doing the wrong thing to these kids. There has to be some rule of law, which is why I call us constitutional libertarians. We all agree people under 18 are incapable of making highly long-term rational decisions. Do we not?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm in agreement with that.
The consensus is, and
I'm sorry,
this
y'all couldn't hear me. Yeah, I'm agreeing.
I hear you. The consensus is in the US that that 18 is the age of consent for whatever it is, unless it's drinking, and which we, as a libertarian, we actually disagree with that rule because it's hypocritical. You can send an 18-year-old off to war to die and get shot in the head, but he can't throw back a couple shots of vodka. Now, I'm not endorsing, your religious beliefs or anything like that. I definitely think alcoholism could become a problem. But the whole concept of libertarianism is you don't have a right to do that. You don't have a right to encroach. Since you said 18 is the age of legality, you don't have a right to prohibit him from anything that he chooses to do for him or herself.
Just think about how dumb that sounds. We don't want an 18-year-old kid drinking, but we're going to hand him a fucking gun and grenades and shit. Yeah. I know. I was that 18-year-old kid. I couldn't have no damn drink legally. But sure enough, they gave me an M16. They gave me a handful of grenades. They taught me how to build explosives. Wasn't the smartest idea, if I looking back in retrospect, if I have to say so myself.
Now, remember when those rules were made, and again, this falls back into why we here in the U.S., a constitutional libertarian is a big deal to us. Is me personally, I think that the age should be 21. I just don't think you should send 8-year-olds off to die in war. But that's my personal conviction. And if we could make that into a law through consensus of like everybody in the US, then that would become part of our constitutional law. And if people disagree and they think, no, we should really send 16-year-olds off to die, if everybody is 100% on board, then we can make that a rule. However, if you have a 16-year-old, and this is really like far-fetched, but if you have this 16-year-old who says, I can't kill people, it violates my religious beliefs, then he is protected under a libertarian constitution. You cannot send them out there to die. And in the drafts, that's exactly what they would do. Now, we haven't had a draft in some time, but I'm just driving the nail in deeper so you guys can understand constitutional libertarianism. I don't think it's a healthy lifestyle, but if you decide that you want to drink yourself to death, I cannot go in your house, arrest you, beat you down with a club, and take you to jail for being a drunk. Now, if you have children that you're neglecting, your children are suffering, then somebody does have to intervene. But a libertarian, our philosophy is not to punish you with jail time per se, unless you were like raping or like beating the kid. That's different because now you've encroached on somebody's constitutional rights and human rights, which is why we have a constitution to begin with. Then, yeah, we have to intervene in those cases. But fewer laws that are more clear cut definitely help the system work. You know, everybody has this different view of marijuana. I have friends that, you know, they're law enforcement officers. They see people getting high and acting the fool. And a constitutional libertarian philosophy is that if you can behave yourself and not cause a ruckus, because remember, encroaching on your neighbor is illegal. But if you can sit at your backyard and you're smoking weed, nobody has a right to bust in your door, beat you to death, put a gun to your head, and drag you to jail. That's part of what we believe in. Now, yes, sir.
Got me towards libertarianism. I mean, is that the idea that if there's no victim, there's no crime. Plain and simple.
That we believe. Yes.
You know what
victim,
I mean?
No crime.
And as a black man in America, with our dealings with police and all, I love that. I absolutely love that. So that means I'm not going to get pulled over for driving too fast because there's no victim. If I get in an accident, now there's victims.
Yep.
So now, but if I'm driving too fast, or, you know, if I did a California roll on a stop sign, I'm not going to get pulled over. So that part of it, like, that really attracts me to libertarianism.
Hey, have you never heard the phrase that prevention is the best remedy, though?
Prevention
Like,
is better
isn't that
than
why
cure.
they put, like, you're driving, you speed, like, that's why they had speed limits and whatnot?
Yeah.
Like, you driving like an asshole, you speeding, you clip a car, next thing you know, that car is in the embankment or whatever.
That's true,
I mean?
but like you said, you're driving like an asshole. But just because I'm speeding doesn't mean I'm driving like an asshole. I can be speeding and know I can control that car at that speed. When I can't control that car at that speed, that's when I become an asshole.
And you control anything in life, though.
All right, Nietzsche, man, shut the fuck up.
I can't deal with that Asian logic, bro. I can't.
The one thing that I do really applaud you though, man. And I've seen the interactions on Facebook and even on our message board or on the show weekly, is that you can have a difference of opinion with somebody and you ain't fucking arguing with them.
Yeah.
You converse about it. Yeah, but a lot of people is black and white, you know, to where there's a whole lot of gray that people just don't see. So if you don't agree with me, I have to yell and try to drive my point into your fucking head until you submit to me and adopt my way of thinking.
Or just block you.
If
just
you
tune you
ever watch
completely out.
Vince,
And that's where wars come from.
No, I said, or they just tune you completely out.
I don't know who said it. Like, I want to say Ludacris or T.I. or somebody said it, but just because I don't agree with you doesn't make you my enemy.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to drive home with libertarianism, you know, there are multiple aspects to the entire philosophy, but there has to be rule of law. And some libertarians are anarchist libertarians, but in truth, they're just anarchists. They don't want any rules. But I mean, let's be realistic. You have to have some rule of law.
Absolutely.
If you don't, then you create victims. So, for instance, I wish Dre was here for this.
I'm here.
Okay,
bro,
good.
I'm here. You're in my earphones.
So, like in residential areas, you have to have a speed limit of 35 to 45. If you got people driving 80, you'll never get back into traffic again. So there has to be common consensus. There has to be rule of law. But then you've got, I love this about Florida. You have the freeway, and this is the law of nature on our freeways. If you're in the left lane, you can do 110. If you see a car coming up behind you, get to the right lanes. Don't stay in the left lane. The people that drive slow in what's called the hammer lane, the left lane, they actually are the reason that people get into car accidents, because the people that are going somewhere fast have to circle around them, go around other cars, and it causes chaos. It causes car accidents. The rule of law by nature is that if you're going to drive slow, you stay out of the left lane.
I agree.
If you live in Florida, please stay out of the left lane if you're going to go slow. If you see a car coming up fast behind you, get over to the right lane as soon as you possibly can, please.
I'm gonna add to that. If you live anywhere and I-95 runs through your state, get the fuck out the left lane if you're not doing over 80 miles an hour. Just move. I don't care if it's Jersey, Florida, unless you're in Virginia, because the troopers in Virginia don't play. They do not fuck off. 1 mile over the speed limit, they don't fuck off.
I gotta add to that. Hear me out.
I mean, listening.
I drive 5 miles underneath the speed limit.
Your ass better be in the right lane.
I'm shooting your fucking tires out.
Hey, I stay in the right lane. I drive 5 under. I'm not rushing unless, like, I plan my day out accordingly. I know when I have to leave to make wherever I need to go with time to spare. I ain't in no rush to do nothing. You see me with my arm hanging out the window, chilling. I'm just cruising, man. But enough of that, because that was silly. I just wanted to say,
bro, you need to be a lazier type person, bro. That's the laziest you can be, bro.
That is.
Because me personally, like, I speed fucking everywhere. My whole philosophy is I get there sooner, I get the shit done sooner, and I can just chill sooner.
Do you know what my favorite thing to do? Do you know my stress breaker in life is sweeping a floor?
Sweeping a floor.
You know what I used to do?
There's nothing more simplistic and controlling than sweeping a floor. If you have chaos in your life and you feel like shit's going sideways, sweep your floor, man.
No, I had a manager at BMW that he had this one little simple saying that changed my whole concept on speed. Because I was this guy that I'm gonna get there fast. Like, I don't have no time playing around getting there. I'm gonna get there. I don't care how many driving schools I've been to where they taught me different mandatory driving schools. I'm talking about the ones where the judge tells you gotta go. Like,
all you doing is speeding off to your next one.
Yeah, the BMW guy, man, the manager, Arthur Dici. You know, you got these customers, and you're ripping and running, and you're trying to, show off cars, and they want to see this car, and they want to see the next car, and everything, and there's a lot going on in the parking lot. We have a tendency of getting in the car. It's a BMW. It's a fast-moving car. We have a tendency of getting in the BMW and getting from this side of the parking lot to the next side of the parking lot very fucking fast.
Now, Vince, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Another question I wanted to ask you real quick is your household, or a household, anybody's household. What is that? Is that a democracy? A dictatorship? Okay, I just wanted to get your viewpoint on that.
Okay, so my personal household is a patriarchy. Okay. And that's where the parents make the rules. A democracy would be where 51% make the rule over 49%. That's, for those of you that don't know what democracy means, the United States is not a democracy. It is a constitutional republic. Individual rights are supposed to be honored. That is what our Constitution says. That definitely does not happen in every case. That's why we have courts, etc. And the courts fail us sometimes. But the U.S. Well, no, if the courts weren't there, let me tell you, things can get very when men take law and matters into their own hand, you end up with a chat situation like up in the Seattle where everybody was like,
Yeah, what do they call it? Chop.
yeah,
First, yeah,
chop.
they didn't know whether they were Chop or Chaz or they
Yeah, it gets
fucking
bad
they're
very,
getting
very
shot and
quick.
calling cops. Like, wait, I thought you guys didn't want cops here. Fuck, like, oh
Yep.
no, but now it's dangerous, so we need you. Fuck you mean?
It becomes mob rule very, very quick. And the thing with those, and I'll just go on a little tangent. Once mob rules, whoever has the most guns or the most power or the most influence wins. And you no longer have anything. You don't have a democracy. You have a full dictatorship. And that's why Venezuela and Cuba went out the way they did. Um, they they made it happen. So anyway, back to the household. Um, the U.S. is a constitutional republic where individual rights are to be respected, and we're a young nation, so we're figuring it out and we're making it happen. A democracy, 51% of the people make the rule, and 49% of the people lose. We're not a democracy. We're
Majority.
yes, majority rules, mob rules. The United States is not a democracy. Now, what we do have is democratic elections, and that is where 51% beat out 49. So a lot of people don't know that. They're like, don't we live in a democracy? Absolutely not. We do not live in a democracy. If we did, your worst fears would come true. All those things that people think are happening, the boogeymen, they actually would happen in a democracy.
I got a
Because, go ahead.
I got a question on that real quick. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
where does that come from that people think that we live in a democracy? Because even in school, you get up and you pledge allegiance to the flag, which is a pledge allegiance to the flag or United
For
States
the
And
for
to the
the
republic
Republic.
in
Yeah,
which we
I don't
stand.
remember because I never used to say it, but
It never said anything about democracy.
right. So
I pledge
where does
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and
liberty,
justice for
justice
all.
for all.
right?
Actually,
Why do I remember this shit?
So because they drilled it into your head, you had to get up and say it every day. That's why.
But I didn't say that shit, bro.
But
I
you
rebelled against that shit right away.
you heard everybody saying it. You know what I mean? Like
yep.
I just smoked too much weed to remember it. It's not important to me. I only
That's
remember
what
the
happens when
things
you
that are
stop smoking
important.
weed. Fuck.
Yeah, I only saw you start remembering shit that's not important. I don't remember shit that's
Why
not
are you
important.
why are you trying to get little kids to pledge allegiance when they have no bearing in life?
Yeah, where does that all come from, Vince? Talk to us,
Okay, so
Mr. Professor.
human nature is that you repeat, 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 or use repetition to teach people.
Yeah.
And that's how things are learned. That's human nature.
Right.
When you cite the Pledge of Allegiance, it is kind of a form of propaganda. You repeat it. Not all propaganda is bad, by the way. If your propaganda is something that brings about good, it's not. It's definitely not negative. Some people have to wake up, look in the mirror, and they repeat to themselves, "I will go out. I will succeed. I'm not a failure." And
Positive affirmations.
yeah, positive affirmation. So propaganda of itself is not evil nor good. With the Pledge of Allegiance to America, remember, America it still is the youngest country there is in the world. So everybody has like a mission statement. Think of it like a gang. Every gang has a Pledge of Allegiance, so to speak. If you're going to be, let's say, Zulu or a king or Nieta or whatever it is, you make a pledge for who you're going to represent. So they added that as part of the morning routine so that everybody would realize, okay, this is what the US stands for. This is who we are. I know people don't like it now, but that was the reason. In the old days, let's use like the Jewish culture, very beautiful culture, they would repeat these Psalms of David, or they would repeat a proverb from Solomon, and they would do it repetitiously so that it became so normalized in your conscience that it became part of your life. That's why we repeat things. That's why the Pledge of Allegiance in the United States was its thing. And other countries do their own version of that. Like for the communists, their mantra or their pledge is like power to the people, power to the people's union. And by repetition, the people get kind of like brainwashed into it, where that becomes what they believe.
What?
I mean, but look at it this way: like, is instilling pride for the country in which you are born, which you live in, is that a bad thing?
What? What?
Depends on
Hi. Go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
what were you gonna ask. Trey?
No. What I was gonna ask is
Oh,
where, like,
so it depends on what you.
no. I'm sorry. What I do want to ask is where exactly does it come from, though? The fact that everybody thinks that it is a democracy, because you hear this all the time. People
Oh,
think this is a democracy.
okay. So the right wing of America, the Republicans and the conservatives, they generally, like 98%, I would just guesstimate, know that we're a republic. The left wing, the Democrats, they confuse their name, Democrat and democracy, with that fact. So they think to themselves, okay, but we're Democrats, we believe in democracy, and they don't really know what they're affirming, but they just kind of run with it. And that's something that I noticed because I believe the same thing. I'm like, aren't we a democracy? And I had no idea we were a free republic or a constitutional republic, pardon me, until I understood constitutional law.
Got you. Got you. Hey, Shelly.
Miss
Shelly
Shelley,
speaks truth
Shelley.
with us.
Hey, Shelly, what's going on?
Doesn't look like she can hear.
I'm having trouble hearing everybody.
we
Can't
hear
hear.
you.
We can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
can you hear us?
I can't really hear anybody.
Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna see if I can go help her out. Give me a second, all right?
Hey, okay, so Vince, real quick. So,
Yes, sir.
who's the real bad guy in Star Wars? The Republic or the Rebels?
You're talking about the Empire,
Yeah, my bad, yeah.
because the
The
Republic
Empire destroyed the Republic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
The Republic were the good guys in Star Wars, unless you sided with Vader, in which you were part of the Empire, the Emperor.
I mean, it started off as a universal Senate with a Republic in mind, and then
Yeah,
through some fuckery, which can actually happen in today's day and age, a dude takes complete control over the Republic and turned it from a republic into a dictatorship
And that
based
was
on fear, nonetheless.
that was Jar Jar Binks' fault. I don't know why, but no, I'm just kidding.
Misa
was
Jar
great
Jar
with
Binks.
Jar Jar.
Misa should have been edited out the film before it came to theater.
No, I like him. All right, Miss Shelley, do you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, I'm gonna shut up.
How you doing? Well, what you got going on? What do you want to add to the conversation for us? You look kind of dark. You don't have your background light today, but we're just gonna keep it moving.
Look at
I
that.
do have my background light. I don't understand what is going on. I have it. I just don't know.
All right,
I
don't
mean,
worry.
it looks like you coming to us from like the 70s, yo.
No, but she.
Throwing that out there.
Look, Dre, I'm not hitting on your wife. She looks beautiful.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Everybody's seeing what I'm seeing, right?
go
Can't
ahead.
even see myself.
What do you got? What do you got going on?
Go.
Okay, well, I just wanted to add my little 2 cents tonight about this whole issue with voter fraud and how people are afraid that if they vote by mail, their vote won't be counted, it'll be tossed out. And just this whole thing around what we're going to do this year as it relates to voting. And in my opinion, I feel like we need to do the same thing we've been doing every election. We need to vote. The thing of it is that I don't feel that there's ever going to be a way to totally eliminate voter fraud. I guess people can do whatever it is they can to try to minimize it as much as possible. But as far as, stopping the election or doing something like that because of possible voter fraud, I just don't see how that's going to be good. A lot of people really want to vote. I feel as if they do try to stop the elections or, because they're saying there's going to be so much fraud this year, as if there hasn't been fraud before. I think that it's gonna you know create chaos. I feel like people are gonna be very upset because a lot of people want to vote this year. A lot of people, they're acting like their life is on the line if they don't get to vote. So, can you imagine what will happen if, for some reason, they say because of all this suspicion of fraud that we can't vote in November? I think that there's already enough tension as it is with the voting process. So, if it comes down to that, and because of all the suspicion, they try to suspend the elections. I think that it's going to be a lose-lose situation. Um, some people say, well, until everybody can get out to the polls again and go vote, that may be a good idea for them to do that. But I honestly feel like it's just going to create a bunch of chaos. And at a time when there's already enough going on, I just don't think we need to add to that.
How do you think Palpatine took over the Republic and became the Empire? Just like this. You think I'm like I'm making a joke, obviously, but like it's legitimately what can happen. Say like they do postpone the election, or Trump refuses to leave office if he loses. Where do we go from there?
That can't happen. Yeah,
You
I
say that
no,
shit. You
no.
say that shit.
That will throw the United States into a full-scale revolutionary war again. That
I
it
feel
can't.
like
Exactly.
I feel
It can't
like
happen.
honestly, I feel like where we stand right now, wherever the winner of the election, whoever wins the election, the other side is going to want to go to war
Yeah,
because we have both sides right now complaining about voter fraud. At the very least, we have both sides acknowledging no. They've always complained about voter fraud. We've always had it, but we have both sides acknowledging that voter fraud is here and it's real. So it's kind of like, okay, me personally, I'm sitting back and I'm thinking like, okay, well, you're president right now and you're running for re-election, but you think this election is fake. You think the election is already rigged. You're running to be president and you already think it's rigged. But both of you guys want to still go through with this process. The shit doesn't make sense to me. Okay, if we both think that the shit is rigged, let's scrap it and come up with something new. That's just my feeling. So, and somebody
That sounds good and all, but
and wait,
we can't get Congress to agree to give us money for
But-
another stimulus package.
But wait a minute. Somebody brought a very good, interesting point the other day, and I know I kind of agree with them, but I know 99% of America won't. And this person said to me, what do you think about if the military was to step in and say, we're going to pause this on January 3rd. We don't have a president no more. The forces took it over until we can come up with a new system and we elect a new president.
And that's how Castro took over Cuba. That's how a lot of dictators took over the countries they had, through military action.
No.
Isn't that how Hitler took over?
But you didn't hear the first part. What I said. I said November 3rd, we do not have a president anymore.
Oh no, I heard you. It'll be under military control.
Right.
There's still going to be somebody within the military that's going to have to be the head of that. You're not. You can't just have the whole military.
Branches. So who's the general right now, military general?
Here's the thing: under the United States Constitution, it is illegal to have a standing army on U.S. soil.
Yeah,
you can't do it. It can't be done. The second it's done, all the constitutionalists, and actually, I think the Democrats in the left wing as well, I think they would actually join together and be like, we're not having martial law. It would create a different war.
But at the same time, like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna keep on going with the shit that we know is fake, that we know is fucked up, we know is rigged, and we can't even get a third party in there because the two sides of the same damn coin is blocking out everything else, and then even talking about that shit is rigged. Like, this shit just doesn't make sense,
with
man.
it being rigged as long as their person wins.
That's my problem too, and my biggest problem. My dad drilled something in my head, and he didn't even know he was drilling this in my head. I just picked it up from him. I like for shit to make sense. When it doesn't make sense, it drives me crazy until I can make some kind of sense out of it. And the shit doesn't make sense right now. None of it is making sense, and I'm going crazy. I'm legit going crazy. I need y'all help.
What is the question?
No, I don't have a question. I'm just going crazy. I'm just going crazy because none of it makes sense, bro. What doesn't make sense is you have two sides of the same coin. You have the Democrats and the Libertarians, or the Democrats and the Republicans, right? None of their shit makes sense. Neither one of them. But me personally, I know that both of them are after the same goal, which is ultimate control.
Domination.
That's ultimate control. That's what they both want, right? And they're both working to the same thing, regardless of how much they divide us, because dividing us is part of that. That's just how I feel about it. Go ahead, John. What do you got to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, for it to make sense, you got to take what the one says and the other says, and you got to put it together. Then it'll make sense.
But then I get really confused.
Well,
they're speaking in incomplete sentences.
By design.
Yeah.
By design, you have to keep people divided to control them.
Yes.
If everybody in this, like, okay, just the five of us, if we all agree that we want to protect each other's rights, and let's say Miss Shelley, she loves whatever. She loves cheetah print. I can't stand cheetah print.
She loves
But I will protect, and this is how it was supposed to work. I will protect her right to have cheetah print everything, and if you screw with her, I'm jumping in. And then John is like, you know what? I totally agree. She has the right to have cheetah print. And Seventh is like, absolutely. And of course, Dre, that's his wife. So he's like, yeah, she's going to have cheetah print. None of us like cheetah print, but as long as we agree that we're going to respect her right to have cheetah print because they don't hurt no one, she is protected. And that's the way that it was supposed to be. Now, us representative 5 people, and it's cool that it's the number 5, not just 4 of us. If someone can figure out that they really don't want Miss Shelley to have anything cheetah print, and I don't know whether she likes cheetah print just because I know some morons out there going, why is he choosing cheetah print? So
who is they? Yeah. That's what I want to know. Why don't they want Miss Shelley to have cheetah print? That's the question we need to be getting to the bottom of. If Miss Shelley wants cheetah print, Miss Shelley gonna have cheetah print. We're gonna find out why these motherfuckers don't want Miss Shelley to have no cheetah print.
Y'all make my wife sound old when you call her Miss.
I'm sorry, respect.
We respect
I can call her a girl from now if you want.
We respect ladies to the highest degree. All right, and I Miss Shelley never told me she was offended, so when she does, I'll stop. No, I won't. Okay, so somebody figures out, they're like, man, I hate cheetah print with a passion. How do I divide this panel of 5 people? And they got to figure out how to divide it. Now, they may not even mention nothing about cheetah print. They may be like, 7th Avenue looks white. And I know that guy up top talking right now, he's definitely white. What if it's, how do I divide it? White people need to dislike other people. And the Asian guy's just going to add to the fire. So all of a sudden, they're planting seeds on each of us. Miss Shelley, why are you letting them white people protect you? You don't need no white protection. And then they're telling the white people, why are you sticking up for Miss Shelley? She hates white people. And then the Asian dude down there is like, I ain't like none of y'all. And then we're like, we hate you too. And all of a sudden, we're all divided. Now Miss Shelley has no protection. They do that by design. That's what's
Now
happening
you
in
got
the US,
protection.
right?
You got your cheetah pants. You got cheetah pants.
Cheetah.
Cheetah.
What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you see the division there with a purpose that's why they drive a divide no matter what?
Absolutely. I absolutely, and more divide. Every day you look is more divide, more divide, and more divide, and more divide. Um, and I'm me personally, I'm at the point in my life where I'm resisting the divide.
Oh man, that's why I love you, bro.
No, I'm honestly like, I don't give a fuck what it is. If I see that it's division in it, I'm resisting it. I'm
So
just,
you're resisting math.
yeah, absolutely. I hate that shit.
Fight the
Yo,
power.
Except when I go to the bank.
I even hate it whenever I go to the bank. I'm like, yo, this ain't it.
Miss Shelley, your
Listen to
thoughts.
this.
Oye, puto.
Um, I guess I'm kind of conflicted on the whole thing because yes, we know it's rigged. But I think that in order for it to not be rigged, then the entire system is gonna have to be recreated because it's been allowed to happen for so long, and people haven't had an issue. And like I said, with this particular election, it's so important because you have people who I see them online. They literally act like if Trump wins, they're gonna die, or the other way around. So it's kind of like at this point, I don't know. Do we let the process play out? If we try to stop it from playing out, like I said before, I honestly feel like there's going to be complete chaos because you have to think about the people who have absolutely no idea what is going on behind the scenes. The five of us may know, but you have millions of other people that think everything is just normal. We're going to vote. They don't understand a lot of the things that go on behind the scenes. So if they feel like their right to vote is being taken away from them, it's gonna be a big, big problem. So I really don't know. I don't know. The president, they said the other day, I did watch the debate, um, but for some reason I didn't hear this part. When he said stand down and stand by. I think that's what they
Stand down,
said.
stand by.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard him say that
yeah. He did. He did.
during the
He did. He
when they
did.
were speaking about oh, I want you to announce white supremacists. It's like, oh, the Proud Boys, man, just stand down, stand by.
No, but
But
no.
Yes, so can you imagine if they tell everybody you can't vote or we're suspending the election November 3rd. We won't be counting any votes. I mean, people already started voting. So, like I said, this entire thing is going to be completely chaotic. My honest opinion about it is I say they just let the process play out and then we start dealing with this after the fact because it's going on for too long to try to stop it right now while we're in the process.
look, I'm gonna put it like this: the bars are opening back up in Miami this weekend, but it's not going to be anything like you're used to. I know on good authority it's going to be nothing like you're used to, and that's kind of like how the whole voting shit's got to go. We're gonna have to do it a different way for now. It's not gonna be what we're used to. We're not gonna like it, but it's either that or don't do it at all. And people, bar staff need to make money. They need to work. People need that socialness, for drinking and all that. So a lot of people are going to turn it down and say, no, I'm not going to do it. There's a lot of people that will. And it's the same thing with voting. If they don't want to go out and physically do it, they can mail that shit in. Whether it works or not, I don't know. They don't know, but you got to have faith that the system works any way you can.
John, you were trying to flag us down to say something. What's up?
Not important, man. She said something about she had said they're gonna act like they're gonna die, and then on the opposite side, they act like they're gonna die if no one doesn't get elected. And I was just gonna agree with her that they're absolutely right. They are going to die. Not tomorrow. Not next
And not
year.
because of who gets elected.
Yeah, but they are gonna die.
They
So
are most
according
definitely
to
going
who
to
they
die.
vote for, during this election, it's. I mean, I know I sound grim when I say it, but yeah, Trump. Both candidates are not worth my vote, to me.
I would say this much: has Trump killed us yet?
But there's more than two candidates.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
but the
that's the
one,
thing.
I mean, they don't even get the attention that they need.
Thank you. And that's
It's by
something.
design. It's by design.
Yeah.
So I
So
mean,
there's four candidates.
I only know of three.
No, there's another libertarian that they've been talking about. His name is like it's an HH name, like Howard something Howard. I see it all the time whenever I see, and it's weird because I was like, oh, libertarians they're starting to get a name. We got that Joe
Joe
Jorgensen,
Jorgensen. Yeah,
and then
that's
you
the
got
only
this
one.
2H. Now it's crazy to me how Joe Jorgensen is JJ, and then you got the other person which is HH.
Hey, next you gonna have GG.
My opinion of it is that everybody who's running should get attention, even if it's done in different brackets. Obviously, they're not going to have everybody debating in the same night, but everybody's voice needs to be heard because somebody who's running may be saying something that resonates with you, but because they're not in the national debates, you don't hear their platform or whatever. I mean, you can go look for it on your own. There's some people who don't even know that it's not just a Republican and a Democrat that they can vote for.
Where's
It's
here's
Ross
sad,
Perot?
but that's just the case.
here's my thing on that is that lobbying needs to get out of there. Lobbying needs to get
Well,
out of
that's
there.
what determines who's gonna win anyway.
That and that's why that needs to get out of there because if you anything you do now, everything you do is digital. Somewhere along the line, you have to incorporate something digital in what you're doing in order for you to kind of get anywhere. And everywhere you look, everywhere you turn, somebody's hitting you with an ad for Joe or an ad for um, Donald, right? One of the two. It doesn't matter which way you turn. You're getting bombarded with it, and advertising costs money. Advertising costs buku fucking cash. That's why we're in the business that we're into. That's why I am in the business that we're into because advertising costs money, and the reason why it costs so much money is because it's very influential. You can make anything a household name if you put enough advertising on it. If you advertise anything, if you advertise a bag of fucking dog poop for 3 months on Facebook, on every media source, and everything, people will start gravitating to your dog poop.
Yo, you got a ghost in your house, bro.
I do.
Yeah, no, I saw that. Close the door behind him and all.
I'm going to tell you about Memento Mori and ghosts and spirits.
Coming soon, y'all. Coming soon.
Listen, it all belongs to us. It all belongs to the people. Power is perception, and these people that are overlording it and also spreading bad ideas, they expect you, the listener, to agree with them. And I can't make people not believe in lording it over people because that's human nature, is to try to lord over people. But it doesn't change the fact that the power is ours. I can drive over to my friend's house. I can show respect to Miss Shelley of my own free accord. I can go over to Andre. I can give him a hug. I can show him love. we have the power. Nobody can. What's somebody gonna
Yo,
arrest you?
Luch, you noticed me and you were excluded, right? Luch.
Yeah,
Me.
yeah. Nobody wants to come to my house to give me a fucking
Oh,
hug.
Fuck
Bro.
you live in Miami, Lucci. Who the fuck is going to Miami?
Man, you act like Miami's fucking like the next state over or some shit.
Dude,
But
Miami's just another fucking. It's like you going across the water or something. Like, fuck that.
this is how politics
Okay,
work.
watch it. I'm from Miami.
These two guys down here, they want socialism. They want hugs too. And, no, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
No,
I
we
thought
never-
we was all cool and shit, man.
We are
Fuck
cool,
it,
man. I
bro.
promote you.
You're not getting a Christmas card this year. And it's
But,
gonna have
no,
people
no.
that gotta want it. It's gonna be hilarious.
I
I
want-
don't get one.
I want people that got though too. We've never met in person, so it's a different story. But those are inside jokes between us. But anyway, we hold the power, man. We can make things happen as we see fit. That's the power that people hold. But instead, they say to themselves, "Oh, give us a king instead. Give us someone to tell us what to do. Give us someone to tell us what to think." And therein lies the problem. And until that changes, nothing will.
Yeah, I agree.
So, folks, we in the last 3 minutes and 22 seconds of the show. Let's do the wrap up. Michelle,
Boom.
we'll go to you.
Seventh
You
Ave
need
got
bones?
2 watches for a reason.
2 watches for a reason. This one because it's shiny, and this one because it goes to my phone.
Let's leave. What are you gonna leave us with your final thoughts, Shells?
Okay. Like I always say, the best thing that we can do is just do the best that we can do. In these times, there are a lot of things that are going on. And my advice to everybody, honestly, would be to just get your house in order. You have to find your tribe, and you have to get with the people that you can depend on, because every day something is changing, and it's starting to seem more and more like we can't really rely on the leadership of the country. We know we will have someone in that position, but we're going to have to start taking a lot more initiative to do for ourselves, and take the resources that we have and help each other out, because times are getting a lot more serious. And a person like me, I'm honestly starting to have less and less faith in the powers that be. So again, my advice to everybody would just be to get your house in order and do the best you can with what you have.
Good advice. Damn good advice.
And also, follow me on Facebook, Shelly Speaks Truth. Twitter, Shelly Speaks Truth. Come to
So
my website, shellyspeakstruth.urbanhistoryfilms.com.
I'm starting to see a trend here. Does Shelly speak truth?
wait, Shell,
Always.
I heard through grapevine something about something had mentioned something about you being a writer or having a book or something
I
like
mean, we gotta
that.
talk about that another time, but we ain't got time for that, bro. You should have brought that shit up 3 minutes ago.
Real fast,
Well,
real
the
fast,
book
real
is
fast.
We ain't got real
relaunching
fast,
soon.
bro.
The book will be relaunching soon, everybody.
We got
So
3
be on the
seconds.
lookout. Be on the lookout. That's what I'll say. I'm very excited. Be on the lookout. It's coming soon.
Awesome. All right, who else? Who's next?
John, go ahead, man. Lead us out for the day, Mr. Bones.
All right, man. I just want to tell everybody thank you. Don't be a dickhead. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Mr. Clean, what you got for us?
I'm tired.
Words of the truest words never been spoke. Mr. CEO, what you got for us?
What I got is BU Hosting. Don't forget our sponsor, BU Hosting. That's BU Hosting. BEYOU hosting.com. Really check them out. Home of the $11.11 domain. This guy's got a whole half a pie. He done ate half of the pie while we're in the show.
Man, I need that other half of that pie, dude.
Whew. And I do want to say that I had to put my office together today. Got a new computer, so I don't have the jingle for the end of the show. So if you're used to seeing the jingle, sorry, you're not going to see the jingle tonight.
Let's
And of
talk
course,
freedom.
I'm gonna end it out as I always do. We are not suicidal. We love our lives. We love each other. We love y'all. We love our families. We did not kill ourselves. And fuck Target and fuck Little Caesars.